dispensed with.
Without objection.
So, Mr. President, today's October 1st, the first full day of Donald Trump's government shutdown. Donald Trump and Republicans.
I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis.
Back to the Reagan National Defense Forum now for remarks from White House Budget Director Russell Vought. Live coverage on C-SPAN.
Ever since, that number has been steadily declining, down to 287 ships today. The United States must realize that to restore deterrence, we need to rebuild our Navy.
Okay, we're going to get to the ships, very important part of this conversation, but let's start with defense spending more broadly. The Reagan National Defense Forum does a series of survey questions, and folks were asked, how large do you think the U.S. military should be? The number one answer by far was large enough to win separate wars against China and Russia at the same time. Folks were also asked about the Golden Dome, overwhelming support for that as well. Those both come with very big price tags. So where does the money come from?
Well, my view is that the capabilities is the right question to ask.
Okay, so first explain to us what RIF means as opposed to being furloughed.
Right, so a RIF, a reduction in force, is a layoff. It is employees who, in a matter of typically 60 days, will no longer be with their agency. They will separate from the federal workforce, and that's different from a furlough, which during any shutdown, any lapse in congressional funding, hundreds of thousands of employees, they are temporarily sent home from their agencies. They are considered not essential to the operations of the agency for a temporary basis, and then once the shutdown ends, they come back to their jobs, they come back to their agencies.
Well, you mentioned the IRS, so a couple of things happening in the IRS. You have this article with the headline, IRS says shutdown exempt staff face furloughs if they take too much leave. And it says IRS employees were told that if they take more than 8 hours of leave per pay period, they will be furloughed for the remainder of the pay period. Can you explain what's going on there?
Right, so this was something we've heard recently from IRS employees. One even shared a recording of this conversation that their manager had with them, that if they take more leave than the 8 hours that you mentioned per pay period, which is 2 weeks, they would be furloughed. And these are employees that are, at this point, they are...
Furloughed or RIFed?
Furloughed.
Okay, so they would just be sent home.
Correct. Yeah, so what's notable here is that we're talking about employees who are already exempt from the government shutdown. They've been deemed by the Treasury Department to be essential. They have to continue working. They have to continue being on the job, even though the IRS at this point, they've